Hi, I'm supposed to be showering because Nancy is coming over to take Poppy out, and I'm supposed to be helping. Well, I'm supposed to be showering because I did help already get the house straightened up. But maybe by the time the shower after this vlog, uh, she'll be here and I won't see her because I'll be in the shower. Anyway, I don't care. Listen, that session, like, I'm already having like blanks, amnesia, which I'm noticing more and more happens with me with anything of emotionally upsetting or difficult to process memories. Like, I'll have like this World War II fight with Paul, and a couple days later, I don't remember what started it. I don't remember a lot of details. Usually, he remembers more details. So I walked in there really upset. I had a fight with Paul the night before that was unresolved, and I wanted to talk to her about that, and I wanted to talk to her about Carolyn and the whole like sleepover crap. But I knew I had to talk about this situation with therapy and the confidentiality and everything, and I was nervous. So I walked in there like really anxious, and she was like, "It's like you seem really anxious." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I need to talk about what's going on. I feel like there might be confidentiality issues, and also I'm feeling judged, and by a person that doesn't know me and has only met Paul twice. So bad feeling. It's been giving me a bad feeling all week, and getting worse and worse and worse actually, because I didn't really say anything more than that at that point, and then she's like, well, and I was like, my friend who is going to Columbia, was, I didn't say counselor because I was a psychologist. She thought this was really strange. This umbrella you're talking about. So, we looked at her ethics book. We did find information saying that this is legitimate with a private practice, and she was like private practice, and like some kind of institutional setting and something else, other places. Anyway, and she's like, look, her name is Paul's therapist. Is She's great, but she's less seasoned than I am, and she's very, very eager to do the right thing and to make sure everything's okay. And Paul's right outside the door. Don't come in. He's gone in the closet. I don't want to be caught doing this. I think he's gone. Can I just go to the blanket? So you won't see me. She's very eager to do her job well and to be responsible. So then I was like, oh, so she wanted to make a CPS call, but was checking with you first. And she was like, yes. And I was like freaking out. And I was like, over sugar, over not getting enough time outside, which is concerning, but is it CPS worthy? And I was like, and worrying about me and about being bipolar. And she's like, she didn't mention bipolar. And I was like, oh, but don't you think it was in her head combined with all this other stuff? And she didn't answer me. And she was like, look, I addressed her concerns, and I assured her, first of all, that as your therapist, I consider you to be an excellent mother, conscientious, self-aware, kind and loving, all about attachment, and that there was no need to pursue anything like a CPS call regarding my care of Poppy. and that the issues that she thought were worthy of calling CPS totally were not. She was like, they would they would do nothing with what she said. She's like, they're so overloaded with true stories of abuse and neglect that, like, I think this child might stay up too late and eat too much sugar and not get to play video games all the time. She's like, it's nothing. It's like, it'll be nothing to them. And so I was like, okay, that's good. I was like, but I still feel judged badly, harshly. I don't know what Paul said about me in there, and I did talk about it with him, and the way he explained it didn't sound so bad, but the way he talks, I could see him being easily misinterpreted. So that worries me. Like, is that gonna like go on continuously with their therapy? Like, I don't know how that's gonna go, and now she knows. She can talk to you about it, and like you two can talk about us. Like, you have the power to do that. And it's messed up. I don't like it. And she said, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she's basically trying to calm me down. And pretty much that wouldn't happen. She just said that she's like kind of a mentor to this woman. And she also said that they have done mutual consultations with each other when they have a question about appropriateness or whatever with a client, like any kind of question that they don't understand how to deal with. They will go to each other. And it's not like a big gossip session, and it's not something they take lightly. And she made me feel better. I mean, I really like her. So everything she was saying was like, okay, okay. And then she was like, do you have any problems with how I handled this? And I was like, I don't think you should have told me about this. I don't understand why you did. If you and she had that conversation, I don't think I should know. And I don't think Paul should know. And Paul knows because I told Paul, but I know because you told me. And so now there's this strange thing between all of us. So, and you know what the amnesia is? I don't remember what she said about that. I don't know. I think she apologized. I think she explained herself in a way that probably made sense to me in the moment. And then, but she also like reiterated that she was so certain that I'm a good mother, and she wondered if it was just because she likes me and like transference stuff, that she consulted with my psychiatrist, who's her husband, and that he reiterated that he feels I'm an excellent mother. He's met Poppy twice. She seemed healthy and happy and smart and good mannered and everything. Like, he just has no issue. Was that, blah, blah, blah. And then the homeschooling thing came up, which I have never mentioned to her because her husband, my psychiatrist, had such a like psycho reaction about it. I don't even know if I've ever told you that. It was months and months ago. She had a very negative tone talking to me about homeschooling, and borderline lectured me. And then I was like, we're doing it. I was like, I hear you, but we're doing it. And so he was like, okay, I get it. You're doing it. I'm going to back off. And, I thought that was the end of it with him. I thought it was weird, the whole thing. I was like, man, like that. Like, he really seemed to, he intended, because it wasn't like a normal interaction with him. And I was relieved that he like actually put his hands up and was like, I'm backing off. Like, I hear you. This is what you're doing. That was a long time ago. So on Tuesday at my session with him, he it was normal. We're chatting like we always do, talking about medicine side effects, whatever. And like kind of in the middle. He says, out of nowhere, he says, "So, what are your plans for Poppy's education next year?" And I got really anxious. I was like, "The fuck's he bringing this up for? Like, we settled this." And I ignored it, and I changed the subject. And we went on the rest of the session. And then toward the end of the session, he turns around, and his back is to me because he's at his desk writing prescriptions. And while he's doing that, he was, "So, what are your plans for Poppy's education next year?" And I just didn't answer. Like, I just didn't. I was like, in my mind, I was like, we settled this. I don't have to answer this question. I can't believe you're even asking it. But I didn't have the balls to like be confrontational about that. So I just like evaded it. Okay, so now I'm in therapy with Danielle yesterday. And because one of Paul's therapist issues was like, he told her all about unschooling, which sounds radical and insane to people. And I hadn't even, if people, I say homeschooling because people know something about homeschooling. It sounds kind of normal, even if they don't like it. So, whatever. I'm talking to her and I was like, "Yeah, Paul brought up homeschooling and I haven't with you. I've been afraid to because Dr. Allen had a really strong reaction against it, and I've been uncomfortable talking to you about it." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, like," and she's like, I was like, and told her that he was like, because originally he was like, "So is Poppy in kindergarten or preschool? How old is she?" And I was like, "Well, actually, we're homeschooling." And he was like, "Homeschooling? Why? Why aren't you just sending her to school? Why?" Like really aggressive. And that like makes me like all tongue tied. And I was like, we have reasons. We think kindergarten's getting overly academic and less recess, so we're at the very least skipping kindergarten, and we'll see how it goes year to year. But and he's like, "I don't understand this. Like, Long Island has really good schools, and I don't understand why you would choose this." And I was like, "Well, we have our reasons that I can't. I don't know. I fumbled out something, and then he was like, that's when I think at that point he was like, "Okay." So I'm gonna tell Danielle this. And I was like, I felt like as if, because he was so different, I was like, I felt like I triggered something in him. Like if I felt like he snapped, like he changed into a different person. And it was scary. And then to have him go there again, I thought it was settled, and then to have him go there again this week, like terrified me. And she like she like breathes, and then she's like, "I think that you are a very perceptive person, and to say that he was triggered, I think is not too far off the mark. And I want you to understand, this seems so inappropriate." She's like, "I want you to understand that Sean came from a very difficult background, and he's a resilient person, and he pulled himself out of that, and he's made a good life for himself. But you may have touched a button with that." And I realized also, before I told the story of him, I told her, because I was kind of defending homeschool with her, and I was like, "Look, I read this research study was done with like 100 families with adults who had been homeschooled, and the majority, I don't remember the number, said homeschool is a good experience for them, no regrets. And a small amount, and the only ones who did regret being homeschooled were the children of Christian fundamentalists, where like the only thing they